I'm not scared of anything, honestly. I say that to myself every morning when I tie my shoelaces tight, like I'm gearing up for some big adventure, even if it's just school. I want to try everything, climbing trees higher than I did yesterday, talking to new kids even if they look older, raising my hand in class before anyone else does. I imagine myself as the kind of person who just walks up to life and says, "Move over, I'm coming through." When I watch adults hesitate or say, "maybe later," or look nervous about something simple like making a phone call, I don't really get it. Why would anyone be scared to start? Starting looks easy from where I stand. You just do it. You run before you think. You speak before you're shy. I tell myself that when I grow up, I'll never miss a chance. If I like someone, I'll say it. If I want something, I'll reach for it. If an opportunity shows up, I'll grab it before it has time to even blink. I won't freeze or overthink or wait for a perfect moment. I'll be brave all the time, like those characters in movies who jump off cliffs into lakes or travel across oceans just because they feel like it. I picture future me as bold and loud and fearless, the kind of person who never wonders, what if? I don't understand yet that sometimes your throat closes up at the worst possible time, or that your legs can feel heavy even when your heart is screaming, go. I don't know that silence can feel safer than trying. Right now, I'm convinced courage is natural, like breathing. I feel it buzzing in my chest, warm and exciting, like I'm standing right at the edge of something big, and all I have to do is take one step forward. And I tell myself, with all the certainty a kid can have, that when that moment comes, I will. I'll step, I'll leap, I'll run. I'll never let fear stop me. I won't grow into someone who watches life from the side. Not me, not ever.
You'd laugh if you saw me now, kid. Not in a mean way, just in that surprised, puzzled way children get when something doesn't match the picture in their head. You imagined you'd grow into a person who moved through life like wind, fast, certain, unstoppable. You thought fear was something you'd outgrow like old shoes, but fear doesn't shrink. It learns new shapes. It learns how to sound reasonable. Adult fear doesn't say, "I'm scared." It says, "Not now," or "What if it goes wrong?" or "I'll try after things settle down." And if you hear those phrases enough times in your own voice, you start believing their wisdom instead of hesitation. I spent years telling myself I was being smart, being careful, being patient, but patience can rot into passivity if you're not paying attention. I missed so many first steps because the moment to take them arrived quietly, without a drum roll, without a spotlight, and I kept waiting for a sign that never came. There were jobs I didn't apply for because I assumed someone better would get them. There were people I cared about deeply but never confessed a thing to because I didn't want to look foolish. There were projects, dreams, ideas that sparked in me like fireflies, but died out because I was too afraid to cup my hands around them. I convinced myself that silence was safer than trying. It almost felt noble sometimes, as if by not acting, I was avoiding mistakes. But silence is its own kind of mistake, a slow one, a quiet one, the kind you don't notice until it's too large to ignore. I watched opportunities drift past like trains I was always a second too late for. I'd stand on the platform telling myself there would be another one soon, another chance, another perfect moment where I'd finally be brave. But bravery isn't a moment, it's a decision, and I didn't make it often enough. I watched people I admired move forward while I stayed where I was, rehearsing the same maybe tomorrow in my head. I watched friends chase dreams I once shared with them, while I stayed behind, organizing my fears into neat, well-labeled boxes. I watched whole chapters of life close without me because I was too scared to push the door open even a little. And the strangest part, on the outside, my life looked perfectly normal, stable, calm, responsible. No one knew how many times I swallowed words I wanted to say, or stepped back when I wanted to step forward, or stayed safe when I desperately wanted to try. People saw a quiet man. They didn't see the crowd of unfinished versions of me standing behind him, waiting for their turn to exist. Sometimes I think about them, the selves I never became, the bold one, the adventurous one, the one who said yes quickly, the one who didn't tremble at the thought of failing. They were real once, growing inside that loud, fearless child you were. But fear has its way of softening a person, smoothing out their edges until they barely recognize their own outline. I'm not angry at myself. Or maybe I was once, but not anymore. Now I just understand how easy it is to freeze at the edge of something important, how paralyzing the first step can feel, how heavy your foot can become when you're standing on the border between what if and maybe never. I didn't fail because I was weak. I hesitated because I was human. And life doesn't wait for the hesitant. It just keeps moving politely without looking back. And now, kid, the brave kid who thought he'd leap at everything, I'm sitting here at the end of the path you once imagined sprinting down, and I have to tell you something softly so it doesn't scare you the way it once scared me. Most of my life happened in the spaces where I didn't move. Not because life was cruel, but because I was careful in all the wrong ways. I thought saying nothing kept me safe. I thought waiting kept me wise. I thought staying still kept me from falling. And maybe it did, but it also kept me from flying. I can look back now and see the exact outlines of the chances I didn't take. They aren't dramatic memories, not big regrets that slam into the chest. They're small moments, almost invisible unless you look at them with the hindsight of an old man. A smile I returned too shyly. A conversation I ended too quickly. A door I didn't knock on because I wasn't sure I deserved what might be behind it. I can still feel the weight of those unsaid words, not heavy like grief, but persistent, like a quiet tapping inside my ribs. All the people I cared about but didn't dare approach, all the invitations I declined because I feared I'd be out of place. All the tiny beginnings I suffocated by demanding certainty before I let myself begin. You'd think the years would soften those memories, and they do, but they never fully disappear. Instead, they become stories I watch from the outside, like films about a life I almost lived. I catch myself wondering sometimes, not with bitterness but with curiosity, who I might have been if I'd said yes a little more quickly, if I'd walked forward even when my legs trembled, if I hadn't needed the world to guarantee the ending before I dared to start the first chapter. I'm not angry with myself anymore. That anger settled years ago, crumbled into understanding. I know now why I stayed quiet so many times. I feared being foolish more than I feared being stagnant. I feared rejection more than regret. I feared the first step because it exposed me. And exposure felt dangerous in a world that kept demanding strength. But here's the truth I learned so slowly it almost slipped past me entirely. The first step is always the scariest one, and it never stops being scary, even at my age. You just get used to choosing between the fear of moving and the ache of standing still. I chose stillness more often than not. And because of that, my life didn't become a story full of bold entries and breathtaking turns. It became a quieter story, one where I watched more than I acted, imagined more than I attempted, dreamed more than I dared. And yet, I don't sit here drowning in sadness. My regret is not a storm, it's a drizzle. Soft, familiar, something that touches the skin without soaking it. I've learned to be gentle with the version of me who hesitated. He was doing the best he could with the courage he had, even if it wasn't the courage he wanted. If you're listening now, that small, eager, fearless version of me, I won't tell you to be braver. I won't give you a lecture about grabbing life with both hands. That's not what this conversation is for. I'm only here to tell you what became of your promise. I thought I would leap. And instead I lingered. I thought I would run, and instead I waited. I thought fear would fade, but it learned to speak in my own voice. And now at the end, I sit with the simple truth that the stories I never lived are the ones that visit me most often, not to haunt me, just to remind me who I once hoped to be. If you're somewhere out there in the world, young, unsure, standing at the edge of something that terrifies you, I'm not here to push you. I'm just here to say the first step doesn't get easier with age. That's all. The rest is up to whatever version of us still has time to choose differently.